What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin. I wanted to do this video before the season started, um, but I haven't been feeling too well. I didn't even do my NFL Carolina Panthers game recap. So I did want to do this NBA video. The NBA season started a couple days ago. We've already seen some pretty good games. Last night's game between the Lakers, Minnesota, that was actually surprisingly good. Spurs Thunder game was good. Even opening night with the Bulls playing the Cavaliers, that game went down to the wire. So we're already getting some good games. I think people, as usual, are being a little bit too quick to judge how good or bad a team is based on a couple of games. A lot of these teams got new pieces. Especially some of these high echelon teams. They got new pieces. It's gonna take a while for these guys to really gel. As the season goes along, 20, 30 games in, then we'll really see what to expect from these teams. We'll see how good they really are. But this video is, I guess, what I'm looking at heading into the 2015-2016 season, and of course playoffs. Start with the Western Conference. Golden State. Uh, will their, I guess, that drive, because when you're going to win your first ring, that drive is there to win. Now, it's not saying that if it's not there, I'm not saying that it's not there, but I'm asking, will it be exactly the same? And that's very difficult, especially when you're a team trying to repeat. You got a target on your back. A lot of these teams want to beat you. A lot of these teams are gonna play. A lot of these teams play hard and play hard just about every night. They're gonna play harder when they play the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State is gonna see themselves having to fight against teams. They could have a bad night. They're gonna see themselves fighting against a lot of teams. So I want to see how they respond. Will they still have that same hunger to continuously win? Their first game, Steph Curry was a monster. You know, Former reigning MVP. We'll have to see how they handle winning a championship and heading into this season. Still one of the best teams in basketball, the best team in basketball, as long as they stay healthy. Spurs, I did want to talk about them. I made a whole video about the Spurs. Just mainly getting LaMarcus Aldridge. We'll have to see, because in that game, Marcus Aldridge, David West, they didn't play particularly well. But we'll have to see going on into the season. I think David West is pretty good coming off the bench. He's a guy who can hit outside jumpers. He's a solid defender, although he didn't play that good defensively against the Thunder. But the ability is there. So we'll have to see going on to the season. Kawhi Leonard was great. He's definitely going to have to take more of a larger offensive role into the Spurs team. Especially with Ginobili. They barely got him to come back. Duncan's more than likely on his last year, and Tony Parker, of course, getting up there in age, and his ability to do some of the things he could do previously in the past, he's just not able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how LaMarcus Aldridge, David West, those are two big names. The two names that they got over the off season. We'll have to see how they play later on in the season. Clippers, moving on to the Clippers. They bring in Josh Smith, they bring in Paul Pierce, who, for that Wizards team, played pretty good down the stretch in those playoff games. He played really good. So you see he still has it. Maybe not throughout the whole season. He's up there in age. So his consistency won't be what you need it to be. But if you get into the playoffs, man, he's a guy that can make plays. Having him, Paul Pierce, who can make plays, and having Chris Paul, I think it's going to be pretty good. My issue is going to be their perimeter defense. Matt Barnes, isn't as good offensively, but I think defensively, Paul Pierce has lost a step. He's not going to keep up with quicker guys. And guys like Matt Barnes, you can put him on your Durant's, or some of these bigger guys that a guy like JJ Redick can't handle. Also, they bring in Lance Stevenson. I don't know what to say about that one. He was a big letdown with the Hornets. He was a big letdown. Josh Smith was coming off the bench. That's good, pretty good. I really thought he was gonna stay with the Houston Rockets. But we'll have to see. This team has a lot of talent, man, and just the way they went out. You up 3-1, and you let that Houston Rockets team and come back down 3-1. That has to be huge, man. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna be looking at that. Hopefully they can rebound from that and do a little bit more in the playoffs. They had a big first round win against the Spurs in last year's playoffs. I think for the most part overall, they're in terms of talent, they're better. We thought DeAndre Jordan was gonna leave. That didn't happen. We'll have to wait and see. I believe they play tonight. Let me make sure of that. No, they don't. Yes, they do. They do play. They play the Dallas Mavericks. It's gonna be an interesting one. A lot of drama with the whole DeAndre Jordan thing that went on. He was supposed to go to Dallas. I guess he made a agreement, not an official contractual agreement, but he actually I guess told upper management he was gonna go to Dallas. Didn't happen, so a lot went down with that. We'll have to see if there's any bad blood with that whole issue. Houston Rockets. Dwight's health is a concern. Lost Josh Smith, who I thought played solid for them in the playoffs. He played pretty good. They lose him. James Harden was still really good last year. We'll have to see about Dwight's health, though. I don't think they made. You bring in Ty Lawson, who, had his off the court mistakes, but the guy on the court, fast, underrated defensively. He's a smaller player, so his defense can only be to a certain degree, but underrated defensively. But the main thing was about his offense. And, his offense, him in the fast break, still one of the fastest players in basketball. Underrated jump shot. He's definitely an upgrade over what they had in the past. So we'll have to see. Dwight's health is a huge concern because he's the anchor to that defense. He's a post scorer. So we'll have to see going down the stretch. What's the deal with him? Memphis. Memphis essentially has the same the same roster. Their issue, and what's been their issue in the past, is they can't. They play a slower paced game, and they can't make huge comebacks. And it was a big reason why they got beat down by Golden State, because Golden State can put points. So if Golden State can come back, they can come back for almost any deficit. They can get hot like that. Memphis really don't. They normally don't get very hot, and I think that's an issue with the team. They play a slower pace. They're good defensively, and what they try to do is slow you down. But it's when they try to get into these games with some teams like the Clippers who are trying to run, teams like Golden State Warriors who play these smaller lineups who's trying to get out in the fast break, spread you out. You got 3-point shooters all around the court. I think that's an issue with the Memphis Grizzlies. They're outside jump shooters. That's still a huge issue. We'll have to see that. They're usually a good team, but it's just always the same problem each and every year. Another team I want to talk about is the Lakers. I think the Lakers are improved from what last year. They did lose to Minnesota, but what they get back from you comparing last year to this year. You bring in Julius Randle comes back off that unfortunate injury that he had in the very first game. He comes back. He's automatically upgrade over Carlos Boozer. You bring in Roy Hibbert for all the crap that we give Roy Hibbert. He's an upgrade over Robert Sacre and Jordan Hill. He's an upgrade over those guys. They bring Ron Test on maybe because of something with Kobe. Kobe really likes him. Kobe comes back. He had a pretty good game against Minnesota. You bring in the rookie Russell from the Ohio State University, and you bring in Lou Williams, from who we play in Toronto. Shit, I got so much in my head, but you bring in Lou Williams. This guy I think he kind of went under the radar. Nobody really mentioned him coming in. But I remember doing a video talking about the Lakers, and what I thought about, they couldn't get the name. They couldn't get your LaMarcus Aldridge. They couldn't get your Monroe. They couldn't get some of the guys that they really wanted in there. DeAndre Jordan. They couldn't get the guys they wanted in there. But I think getting Roy Hibbert upgrade and Lou Williams coming off the bench, that's pretty good. I'll take him over Nick Young. Nick Young takes a bunch of bad shots. But, Lou Williams guy is a combo guard. He can put up points, and that's what they're going to need coming off that bench. A knockdown outside shooter. Well, verdict's still out in the Lakers, but we'll see what happens throughout the season. Kobe's health is a concern. He was coming in. They didn't know if he was going to play or not in the season opener. So, it'll be interesting to see how the Lakers go about the entire, the rest of the season. The Thunder got a big win against the Spurs. I like what I saw from that front court. They really worked the from. I saw there was a couple parts of that game I did miss, but from what I did see, I probably missed 5-10 minutes of the game for what I did see, which was pretty much the rest of the game. Nick Collison. I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm sorry, his name escapes my mind, but I think that front court is pretty good. You got Cantor, you got Ibaka coming back, you get Durant coming back. Deion Waiters had a good game. We'll have to see. You got Augustine, who's really good coming off that bench. I think you got a new coach in there. We'll see how this team plays. They can only go so far, with the previous coach they had, who shall go unnamed. They can only go so far with just the way he didn't get the other guys playing well, and he get the role players in positions that they needed to be in. But we'll see how this coach does, with this team. Let me see. Does that do it for the Western Conference? Any more other teams that I want to talk about? No, not really. Though to me, those are the upper echelon teams, in no particular order, of course. In that Western Conference. Moving on to the Eastern Conference, and this is a long video. I'm just talking and you just listening. I was just making sure my mic wasn't muted. I'd have been talking this whole time for nothing. We start with the Chicago Bulls, of course. Had a big win the other night against Cleveland. Came down to the wire. I like the movement in terms of the offense. Last season there was a bunch of drama with the Chicago Bulls team. You had the supposed bad feud between Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler. That was talked about a lot. The main thing was Coach Thibodeau, who they pretty much said he was going to get fired. So you had that. The players had that. The coach had that on their mind pretty much. The rest of the season. He's gone. Bringing in a new coach, he brings in a new offense. I like what I saw from the movement in the season opener. They actually went with a different starting lineup. Noah's gonna come off the bench, and he's the type of guy. He just said he just wants to win. So I'm gonna take him his word for it. It'll be interesting to see how well they play throughout the season. Hopefully, my boy Rose can stay healthy. Jimmy Butler, get these guys in positions that they need to be in. McDermott, I think he should get a little bit more playing time. The guy can shoot, and you need guys. I would play him. Honestly, I would have played him over Dunleavy. Younger, he can get to the basket, and let Dunleavy go. I mean, Dunleavy was getting a little bit up there in age. Plus, he's from Duke, so don't want him. Lou Alding was from Duke too, but yeah. Moving on from the Bulls, go to the Cavaliers. Now, Cavaliers coming into the season, injury concerns. LeBron's back. Is that still an issue? No, he hasn't really said much about it outside of how is it affecting him before the season started. Kyrie Irving won't be back till next year, after January, I believe. You got this Tristan Thompson. He was holding out, so he wasn't in basketball shape. So it may take him maybe a month to get back into basketball shape. well, we'll have to see. They're dealing with some injuries. No, Iman Shumpert, who is a guy they really brought back mainly for his defense. So this team isn't completely healthy. Mainly not having Kyrie, but they bring in some guys. They bring in Mo Williams. You bring back Verja comes back off of injury. Kevin Love comes back off of injury. You got a guy like Mozgov, who in the finals and in the playoffs actually played surprisingly well. I already mentioned Mo Williams. You bring in Richard Jefferson, as a guy wasn't hasn't been that great, but he's a guy coming off the bench. You teams are not gonna not gonna expect a lot out of him. So I think he can kind of exceed what I guess people expect him to do. Not expected to do a lot. And you can see some of these guys, these role players, are gonna have to play better because LeBron. I don't know. He looked a step slow in that Bulls game. I don't know if it's just me, but he did look a step slow. But moving on from Cleveland, I think we'll have to see when they get fully healthy how they'll play. They had a big win, pretty much destroyed Memphis. It was a complete team effort. Next team, Atlanta. We'll have to see. With Atlanta, it was more so, and they were the surprise team. I did a video talking about the surprise team of last season. They were definitely the surprise team, no doubt about it in my mind. The question with them is will will they be able to duplicate that? You lose Carroll. He gets paid a little bit more than he was worth, and I can't blame him. I don't think anyone can for taking that money. And we'll see because they're not ultra talented. They got some talented guys on the team, but they're Jeff Teague, Al Horford. They're not ultra talented, but it was a system. The system was put in. Kyle Korver had an amazing year. The system was put in that put them in amazing spots to win, and they did a great job. They took advantage of the role players. We'll have to see if they can duplicate that this year. With the teams knowing that they're good, and the teams knew they were good last season. Okay, that was my phone. But we'll have to look at them. I believe they play. They do play tonight. They play against the Knicks, so we'll see how they play against the Knicks. The Knicks had their previous win. It was a big win. They blew them out. Um, take Miami. There's not a bunch of East teams. I apologize. There's not a bunch of East teams to really cover. That I think are gonna be it's the upper echelon and pretty much everybody else. Miami, I think with the talent that they do have, they can be really competitive. The question is Wade's health. Bosh is coming back off. The thing whatever he was dealing with. Can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was a heart problem or something like that. And it's good to see him back. Whiteside is a guy who really started to show up for them throughout most of the season. He was a guy that stepped up. You bring in Dragic. You got older. While older, Luol Deng is still pretty good. He still defends decent enough. He can create his own shot. So I think that starting lineup is pretty good. We'll see how the role players play. But just looking at them on paper, I think definitely they definitely can be a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. Will they be? Who knows? There's always things that happen. Milwaukee, they made the playoffs last year. Young team. You bring in Monroe. We'll have to see. Like I said, young team. You just don't know what they expect out of them. You get Jabari Parker back. That's huge. So, it's just another team that you should look at, but definitely some talent there. A lot of youth, one of the younger teams in the NBA. Let me see. Wizards are another team. John Wall's injury was a big reason why I think they didn't beat Atlanta. I really think they should have beat Atlanta, but his injury pretty much dissolved any that chance of happening. They lose Pierce, who was big for them in the playoffs, but I still think they're definitely one of the top teams in the East. So not really much to say about them, but we'll have to see going on into the rest of the season. Guys like Nene, um, some of these other guys to see how well they play. John Wall, how some of these role players play. I'm sorry, a few names are escaping my mind. I'm sorry, but let me see another East team because there was one in my head. The Knicks, maybe I guess because they're popular. Um, the verdict's still out. Like I said, they had a big win, but we just don't know. Nets, I think the Nets are terrible. That pretty much does it with the East. I know I'm probably forgetting someone, but I talked for so damn long. It is what it is. Let me know what you think. About these NBA teams. I guess what do you expect to see? Who's your favorite team? What do you expect to see from them? I didn't mention Dallas Mavericks. I really don't know. I really don't know what to expect. Like I said, this is all speculation. We're only a couple for some of these teams, 2-3 games in, so we're waiting to see. Could be somebody that really starts to step up. A surprise team is always a surprise team. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Who's your favorite team, of course, and what do you expect? I guess out of this season. It's good the basketball's back. It's right there alongside the NFL. It's going to be difficult to cover. Basketball is a little, it's harder to cover than the NFL because there's just more games. You got 82 games. NFL, you got the games on Sunday, you got the game on Monday, and you got the game on Thursday. That's it. Outside of the playoffs where it's Saturday and Sunday, that's it. NBA, rarely do you get a day where there's no games. So it's a little bit more difficult to cover. But, let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Thanks for watching.